Hey folks, Wandering Kid here. Welcome back to my playthrough of SpaceChem. I'm on Hephaestus IV, and we're going to be challenging More Than Machine, the boss board for Hephaestus IV. This one brings in a new reactor type, which is a laser reactor. The general premise of the laser reactor is you have to put a crystal in the bottom before feeding it its final component to fire, otherwise it blank fires. And you don't want it to blank fire, so you're going to have to feed it a particular crystal underneath. We'll see more of this here shortly. So here's our laser. And here's the reactor. So as you can see, the ruby crystal comes in here. Well, our inputs are up here. We have to feed it in here. You'll notice that's too big to fit in either of the inputs. And number two, which is if we feed it an atom of xenon, it will fire the laser. We have xenon up here. That's pretty easy to get our hands on. This aluminum, oxygen, chromium component is a whole nother story. And if you'll notice, we get chromite 25% of the time and aluminum oxide 75% of the time. Your first hint is notice your reactor quota. You get 4 reactors for this board, but one is already on the board. That's your laser reactor. Hint 2. The story and info for the training for the laser reactor pretty much showed you what you need to be sending it. Hint 3. That's a lot of useless oxygen and iron that you're going to be dumping. Okay, let's get started. Now up here, if we take a look, we've got ALO, 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 right? We have 6 oxygens to 6 ALs. So we're going to want 3 of our aluminum oxides here. We're going to want 6 aluminum oxides for every chromium. Chromium is 24. Not that that helps directly. We have iron and excess oxygen. 3 oxygens can create a chromium if we needed it. But we really don't. Aluminum is 13. You're not getting there in any easy format. And iron is 26. Absolutely useless for our fusion reactors. So guess what? We've got a lot of trash to dump. So just as a thought process for this board, we need 1 chromium for every 3 aluminum oxide atoms we get. Because we're going to build 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and a chromium. So our ratios are correct. We're just going to dump the trash out. Now, you may or may not want to back up xenon. That's a different story. One thing to notice about, about being inside here in the laser reactor is it's got a sensor. You're going to want to use this to control when to bring in and build the next ruby crystal. You actually don't need a reactor for xenon. After the first misfire, it can just keep going. The only reason you would want it is if you want to be able to target this giant spidery whatever thing. So really, we've got 3 reactors if we wanted to try and play with this mess. And I recommend we use it. So our first objective is going to be breaking this mess up. Now, there's a couple of options that we can do with this. See, how do I want to do this? Well, actually, I'm going to need a sensor reactor. So there's 2 approaches we can take to this. We can get overly complicated, or we can use all the reactors available to us. I'm going to go with using all the reactors available to us. So I'm going to stick this guy down here and just kind of move him out of the way. And what we're going to do, if we take a look, we have the ALO here, or the OCR here, as our optional grab point. We'll have red come in. Let's see, actually, delete that. We'll have red come in, come down, grab. Come this way. We grabbed it on the aluminum or the oxygen. Neither of them are really good choices. So, if I have you... Actually, if I have you buy the oxygen, it saves me a cycle. Drop you here, come up, come back. Otherwise, I have you buy the aluminum oxide, which needs to be dropped here, and come back. That will do an out on Sigma, that will do an out on Psi. And we'll have blue do a chaser. So for ease of use, all this is a splitter component. We'll bring one in, it goes out, red comes... Why didn't that... Oh, wow, what did I do here? If it's oxygen, come down with it and drop it. I'm grabbing it on a different point than I was thinking I was. Alright, everybody back by one. There we go. So we're just splitting off where everything's going. Simple enough. I'm going to add some notes to this so I know what's going on. So here we have our setup. We have chromite going out the bottom, we have aluminum oxide going out the top, and that's just to get everything straightened out. Now, what the idea here is we're going to use two different reactors. One's going to set up our aluminum oxide external component. The second one's going to feed chromite in. Let's start with chromium, excuse me, from the chromite. Let's start with that one. So this one's actually simpler than it looks at first glance. Let's get these out of the way. So what we're going to do is we're going to aim to drop the oxygen-oxygen iron here. And just bring chromite up. Sounds simple enough. Actually, we're going to move everybody over by one. Actually, do I care? No, I want this to go relatively quick. I don't think I'm going to need blue for this one. Alright, so... I want to come this way, do an in on beta. Grab it, come down. Rotate it once that way. Come this way, come up. Double unbond it. Drop it there. Do an out on Sigma, do an out on Omega, and come back through. Let's see if I run into the walls or not. What the hell happened here? Oh. It assumes the pipes are doing something. So we'll just extend this out somewhere. Okay, here's our chromide. Really? I didn't know I had put it that close to the wall. I suppose I did. 1 second. Well, lesson in keeping your notes straight. Alright, so let's try that again. We're grabbing it there. And come around this way. Well, we'll spin it over here. So, do I run under the wall? No, good. So then we come through here, we double unbond it, we ship everything, and off we go. Well, we would if that was connected up properly. There we go. Now, I'm a little concerned about this. I'm a little concerned about my outs. Actually, I'm more than a little concerned. I'm very concerned about how this is going out. I'm afraid at some point we're going to have a very significant backlog of aluminum oxide, and this is going to end up with a problem. Alright, well, I will worry about that if I run into a problem. Okay, so we have chromium ready to go. Don't worry, the spider can't run over that. He's just going to run back and forth here where I can't build. Now, for our next adventure... recyclers down here to get rid of our excess oxygen. So how do we want to build this? Do we want to build it this way or this way? I suppose it doesn't matter. In either case, we need to break apart our ALO and bend it. So this ALO is only semi-useful to us. However, if we use it in this form, ALO, ALO, so ALO, ALO, and all we do is split off those two oxygens, it does make our life a little easier. So actually, I lied about which pipe I want where. Or, well, did I or didn't I? If I do this here, and split off those two oxygens, bring you in here. Do an in on B, come this way, grab it, unbond here, and then figure out what I'm doing with it. The other option is to simply send ALO into the final reactor and let it construct. I like that idea. So this is going to recycle our excess oxygen. That'll get rid of that, and we'll dump. Now we're going to come up here. Now I've got it by this aluminum point here. The better question is, do I want to do it that way? I can't immediately go up if I do it that way, but I can if I rotate once that way. Now I come up this way. I unbond it, so I end up with oxygen, aluminum like this. Here. Do an out. I rotate it once. Drop it. Do another out. And then come back through. Let's see if I've got this straight. So I grab it, I rotate it, unbond it, leaving that behind. Okay, almost had that straight. Clear that, come up here and drop it, and do an out. Now I'm gonna need blue on a chaser in this one. This one's just way too large not to. Okay, so we rotate and we can tell blue it can go. So I'm going to have blue sink here and at the out. I'm going to have red sink at the out and then right behind its start. So it'll go like so. That'll go out. That'll go out once I hook up the pipe, and then that will release blue to start up on the back end. The question is do I want the sink to be a long way after the grab? So I'm thinking I want the sink to be here. Which means that I need to give red one hell of a head start. That should work out. That should keep them on opposite sides and hopefully in pattern. Didn't I hook the chromium in? Or did I just... Oh, I didn't put a marker for where I was dropping the chromium. And there we go. So the idea here is I'm going to end up building out an OAL chain, hook it to a chromium, come back, build 3 more, and drop it off. Let's start with red, because red's going to be our chainer. my AL and O are here. I bring one in. I attempt to bond it to its neighbor. I grab it. I rotate it once that way. I drop it. I tell blue that we have done one, we have completed a pattern. Oh, that's already not working. Somehow or another, I double bonded this. Ah, because of that. I don't want this bond here. Blue, just to make things easier, stay on your sink. Okay, so we bond it once, return it. On the third sink, okay, we've built this upper component here. So I'm going to want to put the chromium in on that point. So let's put blue somewhere useful. Oops. So it needs to go through 3 times before blue does anything. Once it's done something useful, we will have blue grab it by, let's say, that oxygen. We'll come up, we will come over, we will come down. Somewhere along the way here, we will do an in on alpha. When we are at this point, we will bond in some chromium. And then 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Yeah, that doesn't work, I know, but give me a second. Okay, so we're gonna build it out. I'm not grabbing it where I was thinking I was. Okay, so I want my grab there. This sink comes through here. I need to rotate it back for a moment. There we go. Okay, there's my first chromium coming in. We come down, we bond it up. Okay. Now red's off on the races. Okay, this is where I'm going to want to come back in. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to want to reverse direction, bring in the second one. Okay, so I know I've got this portion of the component built. This portion's coming. Let's blow away some of this. The layout's going to get a little wonky, but we'll figure it out. So if I come down here, I rotate it up and drop it there. So now at this point, this is that oxygen, this is where the chromium's sitting. I will need to bind in there. And here. Which is problematic. So let's do this differently. Let's not do that way. Put you up there for a minute. Okay, let's lock red in, because we're not changing red up. Let's blow away blue. Let's start blue over. Oops. So blue does an in on alpha. Grabs the chromium. Drops it off. Seems simple enough. In the meanwhile, I can wait a little bit. So we've done 1 full pass, 2 full passes, 3rd pass is done. I've got 1 component here. So I come up, I come across, I do a grab, and I've got it by the oxygen. And I come down here. I really want to drop it there. So we're just going to adjust this slightly. Come this way with it. Drop it. And I'll figure it out from that point. Okay, so I've synced up, I grabbed it, I've pulled it out of the way. Red can start its process. That's 1. That's 2. I'm gonna try and get this timing down for these syncs to be a little more intelligent, but we'll get back to that. That's 1, that's 2, that's 1 too many. So now I'm coming through again, and I've grabbed it here. Now I need to load it up on this point. Because I need to feed it... I need to feed it to here. So if I rotate it like that twice, do a drop, and bond it. Okay, now I've built the ruby crystal. Eventually Xenon will come through and fire. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on a reversal. Actually, no. If there is aluminum in that position, we're going to keep this reversing so that it can't go. Now, I don't know if I had my sync straight, but we're going to find out here shortly. Right now, we're waiting on the in for the chromium and the in for the aluminum oxide. That's built its first one. That sends it round to build the second one. Big deal. We drop it, we tell it to go. We're waiting on the last sync. Okay. That part's working out. Now we grab this. Somewhere around here I could start my first sync to let it go. Yeah, I know. The sinks are in horrible, horrible positions right now. We'll get there. So that comes through. Blue grabs it. Ooh. Oh, that's so close to perfect, but I'm running into it. Okay. Tells red it's good to go, and as long as there's an aluminum in this spot, we won't keep trying to... Ooh. Ooh, that's a problem. Do you see what I see? Okay, so I need to adjust this slightly. What's happening is as we build out up here, we're bonding the heck out of down here. So I think I finally got this thing built straight. So we rotate that through. It syncs up. We build our third component. We grab it, we tell red it's good to go. First component drops. Second component goes through. We're synced up. It's waiting for this one to complete. Well, no, that's not quite what I thought I was doing with it. but I can make it work. Except for one minor problem, which is that we've hyper-bonded a certain portion of this component at this point down here. But I can clean that up, actually. So that cleans up all of our bonds. That gets the bonding straight. Why didn't we drop? Oh, because I've got it on that atom. There we go. Now we drop it. Okay, now it's clear of all this. We've told red it's allowed to go again. Now we're back as though we were coming into our A. And we're waiting on the laser to fire. The laser has an internal timer on it for how often it's allowed to bring in a xenon. So as soon as the laser fires, it will clear the xenon. It will take a xenon from here. It will clear our crystal here. This pipe is getting heavily backed up. I'm gonna do something with that reactor. I can tell you already. Come on, fire. There it goes. So the laser is fired, and it's cleared out down here. I just want to make sure that we can build our third component. There we go. Okay, so all the sinks are straight. There's just one problem. I'm going to get collisions down here. Either I need to bring in a storage tank of some kind, but that's not really the fix for it. Honestly, I just don't need blue. I just don't need it. There's no reason to have it. So we'll just wait for the laser to fire. Now we're going to crank this up to full speed. And that's that. One dead spider. So, yes, that was very long. I'm glad you guys stuck with me through it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching me try and figure out exactly how to get that part to work. And working through all the little bugs and twists and turns that can come up. And in completing that, we get sent up to a Tropo station, and the first board for that will be the Blue Danube. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. If you have, I do ask you to leave a like or a comment. They're always appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.